Okay, welcome to the Basic Computer Repair and Networking, Chapter 9 and 10, Storage Devices Presentation Lecture. Please make sure that you have with you the note guide for both of these chapters so that you can take notes while we go through the content. Okay, there's a couple different types of storage devices. One is known as a magnetic storage device. Magnetism is used to record data, and it is used by devices such as hard drives, floppy drives, and tape drive systems. Some of these drive systems have now become obsolete and are not used much anymore, but magnetic storage is still a type of storage that is available to users in order to store data. There's also electromagnetic principles that go along with magnetic storage devices. Electromagnetic principles allow hard drives and floppy disks to store volumes of data. What happens is data is converted using magnetic patterns, and then it can be stored on a magnetic disk or a tape. This is going to allow to read-write the mechanism that records information and reads information from the magnetic medium. Now, converting the magnetic patterns into data is the electric signal which is generated from those magnetic patterns. So that's a lot of jargon there to describe exactly how data is stored on a magnetic device. Now when it comes to the hard disk drive, which is normally inside of our PC, there's also situations where you might have an external drive. Hard disk drive consists of several platters in a stack, and you will actually possibly at sometimes see an actuator arm, which is a device that moves the head over the disk. If you take a look at how a hard drive operates when it is powered up and storing or retrieving data, you will see this actuator arm move as data is being accessed. Now with a floppy disk, this is one of those ones that has become somewhat obsolete. Floppy disk drives are no longer on PCs, but a floppy disk is a soft magnetic disk used for storing small or moderate amounts of information or data. Floppy disks are very rarely used today. Data is stored on removable diskettes or USB drives. Floppy disk drives read and write to floppy disks and are almost completely obsolete, but it is still a magnetic storage device. A tape drive, this is the earliest removable storage media that was used, which is called the tape drive. It is able to read-write head transfers data to and from the tape, and then the data is then stored on the tape as long as a series of magnetic pulses. So again, not the most commonly used storage device, but they are still being used. Here's an example of what a typical tape drive may look like. You may or may not have seen one of these on any PC that you have come in contact with in the past. Now if we move to where we are into, these are the more common types of storage devices that we have now. They're called SSD drives or solid state drive. They use flash memory chips in place of disks for storage. SSDs transfer data a lot quicker. They are commonly found in portable computers, and they are quicker than traditional hard drives and can be used to augment the hard drive in desktop computers. Now, when the SSD is used as a temporary storage device location for frequently accessed files or programs, it is referred to as a solid state disk caching. Here's an example of what that port would look like. You can see the SSD caching labeled here on the motherboard, and there's the port that would allow the device to be plugged in. This would be something that would be visible on the outside of the computer case if the motherboard was indeed mounted into the case. Now a VHD or a virtual hard disk, this is a file that behaves exactly like a physical hard disk, however it is virtual. So a VHD is used as backup location for an existing operating system, and is used to run another operating system, and also can be used to test a new operating system. So not very common for the common user to use a VHD, more in the end of IT when it comes to operating systems on servers and or client machines. Let's take a look at optical storage. So we've taken a look at magnetic storage devices. Let's take a look at optical storage. So optical storage began with the CD-ROM. Some computers don't even have CD-ROM drives anymore, but when it was first introduced, revolutionized storage and retrieval methods. allowed for great amounts of data to be stored in a much smaller physical area. So it was an advancement in the technology. Now the CD, compact disc read-only memory, also known as CD-ROM, is an optical disc able to store large amounts of data. These were originally developed to replace the plastic records or tapes, the tape drives as well as the floppy drives. They are composed of a polycarbonate substance. Now, advantages of optical storage over magnetic, in this case the CD, capability to store large amounts of data, and the stability of the data that is being stored. Now, a compact disc rewritable, or CDRW, is an improvement over the CDR technology, featuring special discs that can be erased and recorded. So now you can actually use it as like a tape. So you can put the CD in, you can write data to it, erase that data, rewrite new data to it, and so on. CDRW can exchange data with another CDRW. These are the kinds of drives that were used probably most commonly by you when recording CDs, which is also becoming more of an obsolete technology with the ability of USB and also internet music. Now the DVD, Digital Versatile Disc, is a standard that was pushed by the motion picture industry so that it could release films on CD and replace the early tape systems, which are digital video discs. And DVD is going to obtain a higher storage capacity than a CD. It's going to use a shorter wavelength. It's going to use smaller track technology. And it's also going to use advanced data compression techniques. If you buy new computers now and you install operating systems, you are probably going to need a DVD drive in order to do that, because a DVD installation disk is what is being used to install the operating system, not a CD. Now, advantages of the DVD is that there's greater storage capacity than the CD. DVDs are downward compatible with CD technology, and video cards can incorporate MPEG standards for decompression. And that concludes the presentation lecture on storage devices. Please make sure that you go back and revisit the slides if needed in order to make sure you have all the notes for chapters 9 and 10, and I will see you next time we meet in class.